So, some interesting news this week, and I'm here for it. As of this week, Utah has made online porn illegal in their state for anyone under the age of 18. This means that by law, porn sites must verify the user ages, presumably by requesting some form of ID, information. So they must verify user ages before anyone is permitted to access their site. So, in response to this, the online pornography giant Pornhub responded to this new law in protest by shutting down its website service in the entire state of Utah. Yes, if you are in Utah right now, you cannot access Pornhub regardless of age. So to follow this logic, the people who run Pornhub decided that if they can't show porn to kids, they don't want to show it to anybody. Because apparently kids are their key demographic. That's exactly the message they're sending here. So they decided, we're not going to allow our porn to be viewed by anybody in Utah. Which leads me to have just one question. When is Texas going to do this, and can it be soon? Okay, maybe that's two questions, I'm sorry, but when is it going to be our turn to do this? Louisiana and Utah have now finally done this, so when are the rest of the states in the U.S. going to start protecting young people from the horrors of porn addiction? I'm happy about this, but this is a real question. Keep them from being exposed to this stuff and make it hard to access. I'm all for it. I'm looking at you, Greg Abbott, Texas legislators. I'm looking at all of you and all of the other states. When is protecting children from obscenity going to be a priority for you? Now, I'm on the record saying that anti-porn laws are not the whole solution to the problem of porn because, laws don't transform the heart and mind. I still believe that, and I actually said that in my book. But that does not mean that I am against legislation to make it harder to access. I have no issues starting there to help keep kids from getting hooked by the predatory claws of these demonic goblins in the porn industry. I mean, kids are being exposed to this stuff at younger and younger ages. It's now common for 8 and 9-year-olds in many cases to be exposed to this stuff, whether wittingly or not. And in case you didn't know this, as I said before, the people who run sites like Pornhub are rampaging about the fact that people are trying to keep kids off of their sites. We're trying to keep children from accessing online pornography, and the porn giants are ticked about it. They could not be more angry. In fact, in addition to shutting down the use of Pornhub in Utah, which is a win for Utah, like they're winning on both fronts, the porn industry is now suing the state of Utah over these age restriction laws. I mean, these perverts want your children to access their filth. They rely on people getting addicted to porn at younger and younger ages. That is their whole business model. They fry the minds and ruin the lives of these young, unsuspecting children, all to line the pockets of these smut peddlers, prostitutes, and pimps, okay? It's like cigarettes and credit cards with their brand loyalty. They want to get them while they're young. Many of you watching this know exactly what I'm talking about. You were exposed to this stuff at a young, previously innocent age. Your childhood innocence was stolen by these hobgoblins. It happened to me too. At the age of 11, I wasn't looking for it, but I was on the internet unsupervised, and there it was. Okay, it is ridiculously easy to find. I mean, the vast majority of the internet now seems to be pornography, and because of that, because I was unsuspecting and innocent, the pornographers got their grip on me for a long time. It is hard to break away when they get you that young, and they know it. And so they prey on the innocent and the unsuspecting. Children have long been a target demographic of the porn industry, and they are now proving it in the response to these age restriction laws. And yes, it is sick. They've been getting away with it for far too long. So you know what? Let's keep it going. Okay, put these porn companies out of business. I am all for it. Let's make these guys go bankrupt, and let's watch them squirm. Look. I want the porn industry to die. I've already said that. But I also want to watch it suffer for a while. So, Governor Greg Abbott, how about some age restriction laws in Texas? All you other governors, all you other legislators in other states, come join in. Let's kick the porn industry's butt. Let's kick them out of our families and keep them away from our children. But look, we don't need laws to do this, okay? I mean, laws will help. Don't get me wrong. They will help to keep kids away from this stuff. They will help to make it harder to find. That's great. But you guys don't need laws to stop watching porn. All of those of you watching this, I know that statistically, most of you are addicted to porn. Just statistically, it's just true. Okay, I mean, this stuff is widespread. It is running rampant in our culture. So I know that many of you watching are hooked on this stuff right now. I'm telling you, you don't need a law, an anti-porn law, to quit pornography. Okay, you can quit right now of your own free will. If you were in Christ, which I hope you are, then sin has no hold on you. Okay, that God's grace has set you free from these bonds. By His grace, you have the power to say no to the powers and principalities of darkness, to temptation. You can say no to this stuff. You can be free of this stuff. And I say, why wait? I can give you plenty of reasons right now why you should quit porn of your own free will. Right now. And just say no. So as I said before, children are being exposed to porn at younger and younger ages. I myself was exposed at the age of 11 to internet pornography, and I didn't even own a smartphone. They weren't even a thing back then. It was that easy to access back then, and with the ease of access now provided by smartphones and other such smart devices, kids who are not exposed to pornography by the age of 8 and 9 are the exception rather than the rule. And this is especially true since so many parents nowadays are giving their kids free reign of these smart devices and letting the internet do the raising for them, letting the internet parent their kids. If you are doing this, stop it. Okay? Stop being so lazy and parent your own kids. Don't let the internet destroy them. Okay? I'm getting off topic. That's a whole another video for another time that I can do. Now, this exposure is not inconsequential. It doesn't matter the age, but the younger you are when you're exposed to this stuff, the more profound effects it can have. Sex is a beautiful thing, okay? It's designed by God. It's meant to be used in His way, to be an act of devotion and affection within the confines of a loving marriage. Now, such an act is meant to be exclusive and profound in its significance. When a child is exposed to pornography, that undeveloped and innocent mind is now shown the most desecrated form of the act, the most debased, debauched version of it. And instead of love and affection, which is what sex is supposed to be, instead of men and women cherishing one another, they see people being used and abused in increasingly vile and violent ways. I mean, just the most disturbing imagery that you can imagine. Now, nobody learns anything good from this exposure. Okay? Rather than learning from a Christian and biblical perspective that a woman is unique and beautiful of an individual and to be uniquely loved, cherished, honored, and respected by the one man lucky enough to earn her devotion, a young man learns from porn that a woman is disposable or replaceable, no more than a tool to be used for his own gratification and satisfaction, and then to be discarded at the proverbial turn of a magazine page or the closing of an internet window. And no woman would be lucky to land a man who sees her in that way. But that is how pornography teaches men to view women. Right? They can't stop their brains from being rewired that way when they're exposed to this stuff. It just happens. And the more you expose yourself to it, the worse it gets. Furthermore, porn has a kind of narcotic-like effect on the brain, and the consequences can be particularly pronounced when you're exposed at a young age, but it inhibits psychological development and critical thinking. And this is not limited to children, but obviously it's more pronounced in children when they're exposed young and they develop in the wrong way when they're feeding themselves with this as they go. Okay, this stuff gnaws away at social skills and increases significantly levels of depression and anxiety. We cannot be surprised when we are depressed when we are exposed to this stuff. It's like a drug. Okay, it just eats away at our lives. Now, recent studies have shown that young college-aged people are having less sex now than they were 20 or even as recent as 10 years ago. Now, as much as I wish I could say that this is because of some sort of revitalization of Christian morality, some sort of biblical revival, and that people are now being abstinent and waiting until marriage, that's not the case. Now, the reason that people are having less sex at the college age level is because young people are choosing to remain in a dark room with a laptop in their hands over going out and meeting people and forming relationships. Flesh and blood human beings are being replaced by a computer screen and 5 fingers. Women are now being replaced by screens full of the most debased and craven images imaginable. But by just representations on screen of the most depraved acts the human imagination ever conjured up. This is how men are spending their time because it's more convenient. It's easier than living life and forming relationships. But this decision, this habit is not without consequence, obviously. And it's more than just mental conditioning, okay? In this physical conditioning, you cannot put your mind through this or your body through this over and over and over again without consequences occurring. Okay? When you view this stuff so often, when you use your hand to masturbate so often, muscle memory is a thing. And so what young men are finding is that after so long being addicted to porn, and they finally end up with a woman at some point, unfortunately many of them not inside of marriage, but when they finally do end up with getting with a woman, they realize that, they can't perform. Because they've so conditioned their mind to the porn and their body to the use of their hand that their body just doesn't know what to do. Okay, your body knows the difference. If you teach it to behave one way, it will respond in kind. It will learn. Muscle memory is a thing. And young men as young as 18 are dealing with erectile dysfunction because of their porn habits. And even further than that, many of them are realizing that their testosterone levels have dropped. Inconceivably so. Because it turns out there's no faster way to drop your testosterone levels than with porn and masturbation. Believe it or not. Studies have been done on this. And they're unfortunately relatively hard to find because the porn industry pays to hide this stuff from you. But it is all there. I've written about it in my book. If you men are addicted to this stuff and you are abusing yourselves in this way, your testosterone levels will drop. And your body will not respond properly to a real life flesh and blood woman. So yes, men, porn addiction and masturbation literally and physiologically make you less masculine. They make you less of a man. And so long as you are addicted to this stuff, so long as you are habitually using this stuff, you will not be a man worth the title. You will not be a man worth admiring so long as this stuff is in your life, in your mind, and in your heart. It will infect every aspect of your life, up to and including relationships and beyond, as long as you allow it to have control over you. But guys, so if you are in Christ, and again, I hope you are, and for those of you who are not, I would that you were as we are, but look, the point is, you are not a slave to your own body. You are not a slave to your desires. God's grace has freed you from such things. And you have the power to say no, to simply say no to this stuff. That is within your power. You can tell yourself all you want, that, you just can't control yourself. I'm just so hopelessly addicted. I don't know what to do. I just need to wean off of this stuff. You won't wean off. It won't happen. Guys, there is no such thing as one more time. Because as long as you are feeding this habit, it will continue to grow. The only way to stop, the only way for it to shrink is to starve it out. That is the only way to quit right now. Your last time viewing porn, your last time masturbating is not ahead of you, it is behind you. Now, I know I'm making it sound simple because it is. I never said it was easy. I said it was simple. Okay? It might be the hardest thing you ever do. It just might be. But guys, as 1 Corinthians 10:13 tells us, God will never allow you to be tempted beyond what you can handle. He will never give you something that you can't handle. Okay? And no matter how insurmountable something is that you may think, you may think that something is insurmountable, but that is when God's glory is shown. Okay, when when the odds seem insurmountable, that is when God's glory shines the brightest. Just look at the story of Gideon, right? About the completely impossible odds of winning the battle with his 300 men versus hundreds of thousands of Midianites. Okay, it is in times like that when God's glory shines the brightest, when his power shows. And this is not nearly so insurmountable. You giving up porn is a much smaller thing than that. So trust me, you can handle it. God can handle it. Okay? This is nothing. You can say no. And you should say no. The burden is on you, but you are not carrying it alone. There is no burden that you carry by yourself, so long as you are in Christ. And as I keep saying, I hope you are. If you are not, might I convince you to at least consider it? Okay, I'm not going to pressure you into it. I'm just asking you to give it a fair shake. All right. But for those of you who are in Jesus, who have Jesus in your life, this is something that you can very well handle. So in conclusion, let's be the generation that ends the reign of the pornographers, of the Hugh Hefners of the world, okay? Let's let this industry suffer and die. Okay, I'm not saying that we should hate the people involved in the industry. Okay, I'm just saying we shouldn't pity them if they lose their jobs. Okay, this industry has victimized our young people and our adults, quite frankly, for long enough. Let's be the generation that says enough is enough. Quit infecting our culture. Quit terrorizing our nation. Quit victimizing our children. And just say no. We are done. The porn industry is dead. We can do it. We can do it without the government's help. Okay, but I'm not going to complain if every state in the U.S. decides, you know what, porn is now illegal for everyone under the age of 18. You know what, let's go beyond that. Let's make porn illegal, period. Just obscenity laws everywhere. We've done it before in this nation. Why not have obscenity laws that say, no, porn is now illegal? I'm only being slightly hyperbolic. I actually would not be opposed to that. But again, we can't rely on the government to do it for us. Laws cannot change our hearts and minds, so let's start with what we can control. Lobby for anti-porn laws in your state, by all means. I'm all for it. That's what I will be doing. But start in your own house first. Start with your own addiction first. Get that under control. Let God transform your heart and mind. Protect your children from this stuff. Protect their hearts and minds. And let's all be free. Let's all be free together. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for listening. God bless you.